They were simple moments, but they grew in my heart like endless songs. Once, I walked down a narrow street in Paris, the rain falling gently. The dim light from old lamps drawing circles on the pavement. I heard the sound of a piano coming from a small third-floor balcony. Someone was playing a piece I'd never heard before. But it felt like it belonged to me. I stood there, under the awning, looking up, imagining his face. I never saw him, but I felt we had a silent conversation. Another night, I sat on the bridge over the river, the stars clear despite the city lights. Suddenly, an old man with his worn oil came over and offered me a cup of hot tea from a small thermos, saying, "The night is long, and the few who love silence deserve warmth." I didn't know him, but tears welled up in my eyes. A single moment, simple words, changed everything within me. Another time, I was in an old library, turning the pages of a rare book on astronomy from the Validian period. Between the pages, I found a message written in a soft, feminine hand. "If you found this, know that I have searched for you through time, and perhaps I have found you now." I didn't know who wrote it, or when, but I felt I was part of a story bigger than myself. One winter morning, I saw two children place a piece of bread on the windowsill for a bird frozen from the cold. They stood watching it until it ate, then they laughed and ran away. That moment made me believe that goodness still exists, however small it may be. None of these moments were big by ordinary standards, but they ignited within me like stars. Because true love for life isn't always found in grand encounters, but in the details that whisper, "Look, beauty is here, right now, before your eyes." I was walking through the streets of Marseille in the rain, my black cloak clinging to my body, the wind coldly caressing my face. I decided to take refuge in a small cafe, a café noir, the aroma of coffee and tobacco permeating the damp air. I sat in a corner and ordered a black espresso. Little did I know that my entire life would change from behind a frosted glass window. He appeared suddenly, taller than everyone else, wearing a dark brown leather coat. His eyes a mixture of honey and anger. He entered, waving a small umbrella, and looked at me as if he knew me. He smiled slowly and said in his rough voice, "You're free?" I replied, "Not right now." I laughed and moved my bag from the chair opposite. He sat down, without introducing himself, simply saying, "You resemble someone I've been dreaming about." We began to talk. Or rather, he began to tell his story. He said he was a photographer, chasing fleeting moments. His camera captured reality, but his eyes recorded desire. He asked me, "If I asked you to take off your cloak right now, would you?" I laughed, but my heart pounded. I said, "Perhaps if the question had been phrased more nicely." He replied, "I don't like pretense. I want you as you are, or I don't want you at all." His words felt like a knife slowly piercing my side. I didn't know whether to feel pain or enjoyment. An hour later, we went out together. We didn't hold hands, but the distance between us was less than 2 meters the whole time. He would look at me from afar, then suddenly lean in and whisper, "I don't believe in coincidences. You're here because you belong to me." The next day, he texted me, "Come to the studio. 8 o'clock. Don't be late." I went. The door was open, the lighting dim. Jazz music whispering from an old tape recorder. He stood there, shirtless, holding a camera. He said, "Take everything off. I want to see you in natural light. I said, I'm not a model. He said, you're more than that. You're a story. I slowly began to undress, his eyes following my every move. I didn't feel ashamed, but empowered. He pressed the button once, twice. Then he put down the camera and moved closer. His hand touched my back, then slid down to my waist. He whispered, you're free. But you're also mine. I asked, and what if I refuse? He smiled. You won't refuse. Because you're like fire, you just need someone to light you. After the session, we sat on the floor, drinking whiskey without ice. He began telling me about his life, how he lost his parents in a car accident, how he started photographing the dead in hospitals before turning to art. He said, I was searching for beauty in dead things. Until I found you. You are the beauty in the living. Before I could get up, he grabbed my wrist and said, don't go home tonight. I asked, and where do you want me to sleep? He answered, here, on the floor, in my arms, where I can't lose you. We slept together that night, without sex, without many words. Just our arms intertwined. His breath on my neck. I woke up early and found him filming me while I slept. I looked at him, and he smiled and said, pure moments don't slip away. I asked him, will you sell these photos? He replied, no. No one will see these photos. Because you don't share them. Days passed. We started meeting every night. In different places, on a rooftop, on a night train, in a forest near the city. Each time, he asked me for something new. Once, he asked me to lie down on the table while he drew lines on my body with ink. Another time, he asked me to shout his name in an empty train station. I didn't refuse. Every request drew me closer to him, deeper into his heart. But one night, with heavy rain, he disappeared. He didn't reply to my messages. He didn't open the door. I searched for him for days, until I reached his studio. I found the door open, the camera on the floor, and the photos scattered. All of them were of me, some naked, some fully clothed, some of me looking outside as if searching for him. In the corner, I found a note. I don't deserve you. Because I love you in a way that destroys me. Every time I look at you, I feel like I'm going to lose myself. So I ran away. But if you receive this message, know that I was lying. I'm not running away. I'm waiting. In the place where we started. Café Noir. The same time. The same corner. I ran. The rain was pouring. My hair was soaking wet. My heart felt like it would burst out of my chest. I entered the cafe. He was there. Sitting, drinking a black espresso, looking out the window. He didn't see me, but he said, you came. I said, yes. He asked, why? I answered, because your love destroyed me first, and then rebuilt me. I approached, sat down. We didn't speak. He just took my hand and placed it on his heart. It was beating fast. I looked into his eyes and said, this time, I'm not running away. He smiled and said, finally, I've found someone to challenge my running away. Since that day, we haven't been apart. We live in a small studio above Café Noir. He films, and I write. Every night, we rewrite our story. We don't always use beautiful words. Sometimes we shout, we argue, we cry. But in the end, we come back to each other. Because there is no true love without pain, and no existence without the other. And whenever we pass by the camera, he stops me, kisses my forehead, and whispers, "Do you remember the first day?" And I smile and say, "Yes, you knew you would possess me." And he replies, "No, I knew you would possess me."